Upgrades.
Representing TeamJVS, here to give you guys another movie review. This is from Netflix. I'm talking about You People. This is starring a slew of amazing actors and actresses. You got Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Nia Long, Laura London, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, as well as David Duchovny. A all-star cast for the most part. And this is a comedy. The baseline of it is you have Ezra, who is Jonah Hill, and you have Mira, that is Laura London's character. And Ezra's character, he doesn't really connect well with his family. His family's Jewish, but he kind of doesn't practice. And he's got this job, but he doesn't really love it. But he's a podcaster, and he loves talking about, he's very good about what he is communicating about. Now, all of a sudden, one day, he gets like a random encounter where he meets Amira, and at first it's really a scary situation, or, well, depending on who you are, a combative situation. But it comes to find out that they start to connect. They start to like each other. They start to fall for each other. They start to fall truly in love with each other. What did I think about this film? I think that on paper, and when I saw the first trailer for it, I kind of was like, this looks a little cringy. This doesn't seem like it's gonna go anywhere necessarily. But I actually was pleasantly surprised by this, and for different reasons. Like, I loved the Eddie Murphy's subtleness in this. Like, it wasn't like he was playing multiple different characters. He was just playing a dad that did not want his daughter to date a white person. Like, he has his own discretions and thoughts about how, you know, culturally, like, things are being taken away from black people, and the oppression behind certain things when it comes to communication between white and black people. And he just doesn't vibe. It's the last thing. It's not as though he is just explicitly ignorant. He just doesn't want it. He doesn't connect with it, and he's doing everything he possibly can to get into Ezra or Jonah Hill's way. And, like, even the way he communicates, like, it's just off-putting. Like, it's just like he's so set in his ways, it's just a mess. And then on the other side of that, with Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, who is, you know, Ezra's mom, she is that ignorant. Like, she is completely holistically ignorant. Like, at first it's kind of like, oh wow, like, she's being really insensitive, like maybe this might be intentional. She's just that ignorant. And the funny thing that's the flip of that is that you could look at Eddie Murphy's character as being racist, and you could look at, you know, her character, Julia's character, as being, you know, ignorantly racist and intentional as to why she's doing it. But that's not how the story plays or progresses it. The thing that I thought was so fascinating, I didn't realize this is the same, you know, creator of Grownish and Blackish, is that there are different subset levels of communication that happens in the midst of the foolishness. There's so much foolishness that's definitely what I thought on the head of cringe and over the top and unnecessary. Some overlapping arcs that kind of happen with, you know, Jonah and Lauren's character. Like, it kind of was like, I don't buy. There were times I didn't buy them being in love, but the conversations that were being had felt real. They felt really tangible. It felt like they were coming from an actual place. Now, I think that they were a little bit too harsh on the nose with certain ways that they kind of had, like a bachelor party moment, or like a conversation that Ezra had with his co-host that was a podcaster. Some of that felt like it was forced to throw the fire, that I knew where the story was going to go. I didn't like that part of it. But in terms of the actual writing and the meat and potatoes as to why there's so much indifference going on, why the ignorance is playing certain... There's a moment where, I kid you not, David Duchovny's character is playing the piano, and and both Ezra and Armina is there, and I was like, this is so off-putting, and I don't know how this is making her really feel. And he is definitely embarrassed, but at the same time, his mother was doing something the same exact way, but worse. And it's just like those moments with parents where you have to, cleave and leave. That's where it became a very fascinating, character study, because the truth of the matter is, if you really love somebody, you have to do it yourself. You have to choose to deal with the indifference and make a conscious choice. Now, saying that, the way that the movie ends is contingent upon a certain thing that has to do with the parents, and I don't believe in that. I don't think that I get it and it makes sense, but I don't think that if it shouldn't, that aspect in their approval or whatnot, I think that kind of strays past the point of this in their social interactions. But I think it adds for good conversation. I think that those conversations that are being had between the families in the midst of the foolishness, I think this is very fascinating. There's a moment where Jonah is like playing on the basketball court. I legit was laughing. I think the other thing about the movie is that there are moments that I'm laughing in this. Like, and even when it's cringy, like, I was laughing. Mike Epps randomly pops up in this one, and he's hilarious. He is so freaking funny. The negative, I would say, outside of them over pushing certain things and, telegraphing stuff with pushing certain stuff, is Nia Long is kind of underutilized. Like, the fact that Laura London's mom is Nia Long, you would think to give her some moments to really shine, and they I don't want to say they kind of use her like a token spouse. They kind of do the same thing with David Duchovny's character, but at least they made him kind of have a moment to be funny and weird. Whereas like Nia Long's character, she just kind of, does whatever Eddie Murphy's character Akbar does, and it doesn't elevate or do anything with it. It's so weird, because I was like, it's kind of a waste of a good actress. Now, saying all that, would this be a movie that I would watch again? I think I would watch it again with my wife, and I would probably recommend it for somebody to watch once. But for repeated viewing, like, am I just gonna watch this again and again for comedy's sake? No, but it did make me laugh. I did like some of the social interactions, and I think there's some good meat and potatoes in between some of the foolishness that's going on in this movie. I'd rest it at like a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10. I might lean it more towards 6.5, but I think it's worth checking out, and I think that there's some good arcs and content, and also dealing with race relations in addition to interracial relationships, what those paradigm shifts really truly are versus what they sometimes can perpetuate to be. I think that's such a fascinating thing, but they don't really lend into that. They don't lean into it as much as they could. But let me know what you guys think of You People. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, people.
Filing out the top of the I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind, oh Lord.